my name is Maya, and welcome to the episode 42 of my knitting podcast, where I share all my thoughts, process, and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. Today is the... I don't know... the 16th of January 2025, and I'm coming to you from the French-speaking part of Switzerland, where I live with my gecko. Today's program, I have one huge finished object. I have one big work in progress and one small work in progress and one small acquisition and then some bits and bobs at the end. So I think it should be a shorter episode, but probably not. Let's be real. And again, as always, there is always a construction site going on below my window, so sorry if you can hear that, but yeah, that's life. So, first, what I'm wearing is my finished object, and this is covered by my hair, but it's the Halmoni Jacket, which is my own design that went out in December. And the sample I knit for the pattern was for my dad, so it was way too big for me, and I just wanted to make one for myself. And here it is. So this is size 3. It's a little bit bigger than what I should select for my bust, I mean chest. But I sized up because I have broad shoulders and I wanted to, and I do what I want. So this is size 3, and it's a little bit bigger than what the pattern Positive Ease suggests, but I like it. And it has pockets, and it's still a slightly bit damp, especially in the pockets. But it's okay, it's just for the video. And I am missing the zipper. It's supposed to have a zipper from the bottom here up to the very top, but it's so beautiful. But I'm gonna explain later why I don't have the zipper yet. And the sleeves are too long. I already shortened them, but apparently my row gauge is a bit too long, so I folded the cuffs, and with the cuffs folded it's the perfect length. But yeah, if I unfold them, they basically cover my hands, which was not the point. And I don't think I will go back and shorten them, because I would like to use this for when I go climbing, because this is super warm and super lightweight, and weight is important. I'm not climbing with it, but when I go to a crag where there is a cliff that we can actually climb, we usually need to walk quite a bit, and wearing heavy stuff is annoying when you have to walk a path that's like that for 1 hour. So the lighter the better, so this is perfect. Super warm, super lightweight. And I think I want to keep the sleeves long, because when I'm extra cold, waiting at the bottom of the clip, waiting for my turn basically, I can unfold the cuffs and cover my hands like this and be extra long. So I think it will be useful. I would prefer it if they were shorter, but I don't want them short enough. I don't need them to be short enough. To shorten them. I sized up the needle. I used the 5.5 millimeters instead of 5, because I'm a tight knitter, and I can knit loosely on 5 millimeters to get gauge, but it's more comfortable to knit tightly on 5.5, so I did that. The only modification I did is that on the fronts here, you have a column of pearl stitches between this cable and the I-cord, and you're supposed to have the zipper here. And it's supposed to be a little bit wider than that, but I did it a little bit smaller because my back is larger than my front, so I sized up mainly to fit my back, and the front would be too wide, so I just did this a little bit smaller so that it would be asymmetrical between front and back and just fit my personal body a little bit better. So yeah, that's the only modification, except I shortened a little bit the sleeves, but you can do what you want with the length of your garments. And I used... So yeah, I was playing an epic game of yarn chicken with this, and I ended up having... Where are they? A tiny bit of leftovers, so I have my swatch. I didn't have to unravel it, and I have this much left for the whole thing. So I calculated that with my swatch and this, I could have made 8 more rows in the body. And if I make the sleeves shorter, I could make probably 4 more. And I could have used this length because right now this is just a sweatpants. My hips are here, so it's a little bit, yeah, actually it's in the middle of my butt, so it's a nice length. But again, I would have preferred if it was a little bit longer, but it's okay like that. And the problem is that if you want to add length to this thing, because of the pockets, the best way to add length is up here. So you need to unravel the bind off, the ribbing, the pockets, the pocket linings that are knit at the same time as the body, and then add length and then re-knit the pockets, the lining, the ribbing and the bind off. And there's no way I'm doing that. So I shall leave with a little bit of extra yarn, and yeah, that's it. I have one tester that is knitting this for her husband, who is really tall, like more than 2 meters I think. And she wanted to add length before the pocket, but what she tried to do is to cut off the whole thing and then add one whole pattern repeat and then graft it back together. And she told me she was doing that before doing it, and I was like, you can try, but grafting the cable is gonna be pretty epic. So if you can do it, you're amazing, but if you don't succeed, yeah, it's pretty normal. Don't beat yourself up about that. And she did tell me a few days later that she failed and she couldn't graft it back together, so she had to unravel the whole bottom part to knit them again. And it was already the second time she was knitting it because she picked the wrong size because of me. It was my fault. So yeah, bless her, she did this whole jacket maybe 3 times and she still enjoys it, and she's just the best tester and I love her. But yeah, if you want to add length to this thing, maybe do it after the pockets. I don't know. I don't really have a recommendation. It's just how it is. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to manage the length of something. But there is indication in the pattern of how long this whole section is. So if you want to add length, you can do the calculation beforehand. But yeah, anyway, this is my finished object. I really love it. I'm super happy about it. Yeah, I finally have my own version of this pattern and I love it. The yarn, the yarn I use is Adelino by Roll Up the Sheep that I bought at a local yarn festival back in October, I think. And it's a really lovely yarn. You can see there is a gentle striping because the skeins are a mix of white and brown wool together, and it just gives a lovely effect. You have a little bit of pulling, but it's just, yeah, it's just the natural way the yarn is, and I just love it. I think it gives a lot more depth to the garment, and I love that it's not symmetrical. I did mention that I was very close and tempted to micromanaging the colors in the skins because not a single skin was similar to the other one. Some were very dark, some were very light, some were dark at the beginning and then turned light and then dark again. So yeah, it was a complete mismatch. And I was tempted to micromanage, but then I decided to chill out, breathe, and not give a single thought about the colors. And there were a few times where I was very close from swapping skins and then unravel a little bit to see what color was coming. But fortunately, I stopped myself before I did that. And I am so glad because the colors are perfect. I mean, there is a difference here, but yeah, other than that, it's just, it looks great. So I'm super happy. I just let the yarn do its own thing and the result is just perfect. I love it. And the first part to the story behind the zipper is that I actually have a zipper that I bought for something else, but it was a little bit too short and I had already ripped out the tag, so I couldn't return it anymore. So I wanted to use this for this. It is absolutely not the correct color. This is like a mid-tone grey. It's not warm or cool, it's just grey. And this is a warm beige, so it's absolutely not suiting. But I really don't care, and I am definitely the type of person, if I have something laying around and it's good enough, I will use it so that I don't have it laying around anymore. I hate when I have stuff that's useless in anywhere in my apartment, so I wanted to use this here. However, when I blocked the jacket, since it was a little bit short, I did stretch it a tiny bit, and now the zipper is too short. So I have to buy another one, which is good because then I can buy a color that will be a little bit better for this. But then I have this laying around again that I don't know what to do with. But yeah, that's the first part of the story, and I will explain later why I haven't bought the new zipper yet, because there's a good reason. Alright, something else I'm wearing, as always, is a bow in my hair. It's Augustins number 22, and I have a whole collection of them. One day I should show the whole collection, but not today. It's just one of them. Okay, so my first work in progress, which is a big one. I hope you are all super excited to see it, because it's my melon sweater! And this is the one I showed you last time. As you can see, it's not on needles anymore. I will explain. So last time I was probably here, so I did a little bit of progress, and I have steam blocked it, so I did this much progress. Yeah, I'm just gonna take this off. Oh yeah, I'm also wearing my mini mock neck by Jessie May. I knit it in a standard sock yarn superwash merino nylon blend by Olivia and Oliver Fibers. I love it. This garment is perfect, I really like it. It's a little bit too short, but I have yarn left, so I should lengthen it one day. But I have yarn already in my stash to make another one, because this yarn is a little bit itchy. So yeah, I love this one. Anyway, so this guy, I have also added the neckline since last time, so it's fitting like this. Oh my god, it's beautiful! And yeah, it's a contiguous shoulder construction, so you have the increases for the body on this first part here, and then you switch for increasing only for the sleeves, like this, and it's looking great. I love it. I have added a little bit of elastic in the neckline, which is this white bit hanging around. I just take it in the inside, and yeah, you can kind of see weird stuff happening. Yeah, let me explain why it's not on the needles anymore. So first, this is my own design, the melon sweater. The test call is delayed, you will understand why. And the yarn I'm using is Explore Knits and Fibers Earthy Sock Base, which is a non-superwash merino fingering weight yarn. And the colorways are Butterfly Pea Flower and In Bloom. They are beautiful. It's a collab with them. I haven't received the yarn though, this one I paid for myself. And this is a slip stitch pattern, so you have the main color on top, and then the contrast color is below the slip stitches and doing this beautiful effect. I love it. So what happened? There are a few things that I wasn't happy about. The first appeared when I started the neckline. I picked up my stitches and it was looking messy. I mean, this is not good. It's looking messy. So I wasn't happy about that. And then I finished the neckline and I didn't really like the shape of this. I mean, it looks okay, but I think I was pretty sure I could do better. And it's a little bit tight. I wanted it a little bit bigger. So yeah, this was not working. I wasn't happy. But I could have just started over the pickup and the neckline, but I would have to start over the whole thing to change the way I did the cast on and the setup rows here to have a different, I mean, to not have this. So that was too late. And then I started knitting on these parts and things started to get really chaotic. First, I wasn't happy with this. This also looks messy. I mean, it's okay, but again, I can do better. And the instructions were getting super complicated because the increases I use are lifted increases. And when you do lifted increases, imagine you have a marker here, you have one stitch here, one stitch here. And when you want to increase on this side of the marker, you need to lift the stitch that's on the other side of the marker. But if you want to lift the stitch, you need to actually have a stitch. And this is a slip stitch pattern. And you cannot lift a stitch that was slipped because it was slipped, so you didn't knit it. That's super difficult to say. I hope it makes sense. So if you want to make a lifted increase, you need to actually knit the stitch that's below your stitch on the needle. So you need to have a column of knit stitches on the other side of the marker. So on the shoulder here it's working because you have a stockinette band here, so you can just use the first stitch of the stockinette band to do the increases, so it's fine. But when you switch to here, you don't do the increases here anymore, but here. But you have slip stitches on both sides, which means you have to maintain a knit stitch column on one side of the fabric, which is kind of annoying to put in the instructions. I mean, you can do it, but it just makes the pattern repeat longer because everything is offset. So yeah, it was making the instructions more difficult than necessary. I already wasn't happy with that. And then when I came to the underarms, you need to do a little bit of raglan increases, so you increase both on the sleeve and the body, which means you need to have a column of knit stitches on both sides of the marker, but you cannot do lifted increases on both sides at the same time, because if you lift the stitch on one side, you cannot lift the other one on the other side anymore, otherwise they cross. So you can't do that. So you need to have the increases staggered, I mean offset, and it just makes things even more difficult. And I just kept on making mistakes, and I forgot the increases, and I made them in the wrong place, and I forgot the knit column, and I had to read back, and it was just getting super chaotic. And I was like, if this is too difficult for me, it's gonna be too difficult for everyone. And on top of that, you can see here, there is a lot of puckering happening, because I knew it. The gauge of the stockinette, the raw gauge of the stockinette is of course a lot longer than the slip stitch, because you are not slipping stitches in the stockinette. And it was working here, because with contiguous shoulder constructions, you probably noticed you usually have some puckering here, because you increase on every row, and usually the raw gauge of this is too short to accommodate for all the stitches you add here, because the raw gauge is usually shorter than the stitch gauge. For example, usually you have, I don't know, 22 stitches wide and 30 something stitches height. So this raw gauge is usually too short. In this case, since my raw gauge in the stockinette section is longer, I don't have puckering, which is perfect. So this actually worked perfectly with the logic of the construction. And then when you switch to the shoulder, this part on the top has to go over a slope, the slope of the shoulder, so you need a longer distance here than here. And again, the longer raw gauge of the stockinette works perfectly with that, which helps to have a beautiful shape here over the shoulder when you switch from the body increase to the sleeve increases. But then, when you get to the straight part of the arm, suddenly it doesn't work anymore, because you have the longer raw gauge of this that's puckering because of the shorter raw gauge of the slip stitch pattern. And then you have this happening. It does the weird folds in the fabric, and if I pull on it, it disappears. So maybe if I block it super aggressively, I can make them go. But with this type of fabric, and especially with the non-super wash yarn like I'm having here, it's just going to spring back to the way it wants to be, even if I block it super aggressively. The yarn just does what it wants. So it was just never gonna work. And you may know that I mentioned I wanted to do a short sleeve version, so this is pretty close from the length of the short sleeve, and the short sleeve was just not gonna work. So yeah, it was just too many things were not working, and on top of that the gauge was I mean, it's fine, I love the fabric, but I knew I could use larger needles without losing the integrity of the fabric. I just knew I could go higher, and the reason I didn't go higher is because I didn't want the stockinette fabric to be too loose. This is 3.5 millimeters, and it's already pushing it a little bit for a shoulder that's supposed to have a little bit of integrity to use 3.5 millimeters in stockinette. And the last thing, I've used this much yarn and I'm not even at the sleeve split, which means for a full length sleeve sweater I'm probably gonna use like 5 skeins or even 6, which is massive. It doesn't make any sense to have this much yarn for such a small garment. It's pretty fitted. I mean, it's not negative ease, but it's not a huge amount of positive ease either. And why would you need 6 skeins of fingering weight yarn for such a small garment for my size? I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, so it was using too much yarn, and it was going so slow because of the slip stitches and the small gauge, so I had to start over. So I did that. So I removed the needles from this one and I started another one on bigger needles and with a slightly different... oh, the sun is out. And with a slightly different construction. There. I need to stay here. Slightly different construction for the neckline. So here is my second version. It's almost at the same point, it is at the same point as the first one, except I don't have the neckline yet. But I am so happy I started over, it's just so much better like this. I'm just going to put it on try-on tubing first, so that I can actually put it on. Alright, before I put it on, let me explain the main difference, which is in the shoulder, which has completely changed. Because I had to find a solution for the row gauge situation, because the easiest way would have been to slip all the stitches from the stockinette bands every 2 rows. Because here I have 2 rows in each color, so if I slip all the stitches every other row, I have only 1 row in each color, which gives me around the same row gauge as this one. But then if I do that, I have a huge float on the back here, every 2 rows. And you could catch your float, but that's annoying. And if you've ever worked colorwork with the same width for any amount of time, you know that it's kind of inevitable. It gets smaller and smaller the more you knit. It's just impossible to keep the float at the same width. Almost impossible. It's super hard to do, and it's just not a pleasant experience. And then you have this super long float on the shoulders, and just like, why? The other solution would be to use a smaller needle just for the stockinette, but again, that's just, the knitting experience would be terrible, and I don't want anyone to suffer through that. So, because when you knit a cardigan and you just do the button band on a different needle, it's a little bit different because you knit flat. And when you get to the end, you knit it twice with the smaller needle, and then you don't have to think about it anymore until you get to the other side. But here, in the round, you knit half, and then you switch needle, and then you knit half, and then you switch needle, so it's even worse than when you do just the button band of a cardigan, so not a good solution. So basically I had no other choice but to slip stitches to make it shorter, but I couldn't slip the stitches the whole way through, especially for the bigger sizes, because this band gets wider and wider with the sizes, and yeah, you cannot slip 14 stitches for the whole sleeve of a garment. So I had to slip smaller amounts of stitches and then have knit columns between them, which is basically I-cords. So I had to do a series of I-cords on the shoulders to get a smaller row gauge, which is what I did. So I decided to do 5 I-cords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to solve the issue of the messy looking seam on the sleeve here, this one, I wanted to also have an I-cord here. And since I already had I-cords on the shoulder, but the body has more fabric, so it can handle a wider shoulder pad, I guess, than the sleeve, in my opinion, because the sleeve gets smaller. Even for the bigger sizes, you always have more fabric here than here. So I wanted to have smaller bands on the sleeve than on the shoulder. So what I did is I have my 5 I-cords here on the shoulder, and then 2 of them branch out, and you have a smaller I-cord. Those are a little bit smaller than those ones. I mean, they are a little bit less wide, so that you have a column of knit stitches on each side, which makes the lift and increases so much easier. You don't have to like think about how to maintain a column of stitches, because it's just each side of the I-cord is a column of knit stitches, and it's just there, and you don't have to do anything particular about them. And it just makes the process so much easier and so much simpler. And that way you have this funny little detail on the shoulder where you have the detail here that continues on the sleeve but also marks the separation here. I think it looks funny. There is kind of a... it looks a little bit like a hand on your shoulder, especially in this size, because there are 5 high cords. In the bigger sizes there are more, but in the smaller sizes you have a little bit of an hand of on your shoulder effect, which I'm not super happy about, but at the same time it's funny. It's just, I think I'm kind of too... I'm a little bit disappointed that I had to let this one go, but the look is very similar. In the end, you still have the same hand effect with this one. It's just that it's a little bit more obvious with this, but it's not too different in the end. Anyway, so this solved the whole issue about the whole increasing situation, and that way you can increase on both body and sleeve sides at the same time, and it just makes everything so much better. And yeah, it just solved all my issues. So I'm super happy I managed to find this ID, and since I went up a needle size, it also uses less yarn, so I have this much left. I'm at the underarms. The main color, you use more of the main color, and this is like 60 grams or 57 grams, so I'm not halfway through the yarn yet. I haven't swatched with this one though, so I think, I'm not even sure, maybe I can use 2 skeins for the short sleeve version, I'm not sure, but at least I am certain I can use less than 4 skeins for the long sleeve version, and that's already much better than 6. And the gauge is not too loose or anything. If anything, it's better. I just need to make peace with this fabric that because I like dense fabrics, but this is just, it's just better, I think. I just need to accept it. So let me try it on. And here I also have the neckline that's a little bit wider. And when I add the folded over stockinette neckline later on, it's just gonna be better. I changed also the shaping here. It's a little bit deeper. I just prefer that. And yeah, it's just gonna be so much better. So as you can see, I am almost at the sleeve separation, and it's fitting great. I have enough stitches for my arm. Wow. I really love it. Oh, it's so much better like that. I'm just so relieved. And you don't have the strange puckering happening here. You have now a tiny bit of puckering here, ever so slightly. I think it disappeared when I steam blocked it. So yeah, everything is working great, because this gauge is still a little bit longer than this one, but I think it's close enough for nothing bad to happen anymore. So the short sleeve version is gonna work, the long sleeve version is gonna work, everything is gonna work. I'm so happy I started over. But this is why the test call is delayed, because I had to start over. I'm glad I didn't do the grading with the first version yet, because otherwise I would have to do it twice, and I'm just glad I didn't do that. Now it's just smooth sailing. I just need to, I think I have like 10 more rows before the sleeve separation, and then do a little bit of the body. I think I will do a mid-block, just to be sure. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just happy. So, if you have an opinion about this, and even if you don't like it, please tell me. I'm curious to know. I think it, like this, it looks very strange. But I think from here, it's kind of an emphasis. It just draws a line around your contour somehow, and I think it has a cool look. I like it. Anyway, so that's it for my melon. In French it's melon, but I think in English it's melon or melon. Melon? I think it's melon. I have no idea. But yeah, going smoothly. I love it. I'm super excited, and I just can't wait to have it finished, because I'm excited to discover and meet the final fit of this guy. I'm super proud. Anyway, the next work in progress is here. There. I have cast on pouch using self-striping yarn. This is edition 3 by Chopper Volley. I have the tag. It's this. It's a self-striping long color sequence kind of situation where they have marled 2 different colors of yarn together, and each strand has a different color sequence, so you have this slow variegation. It's super lovely, I really like it. It's a much cheaper alternative to Spin Cycle, and it's just as lovely, I think. I haven't used Spin Cycle, but this is great. And I have cast on a pouch. It doesn't look like anything for now. It's a super small pouch. Let me show you the original one. So this is the first one wow. This is the first one I did. So you can see it's the entrelac stitch, so it has those kind of squares, rectangles staggering on top of each other. And this one is way too big because I wanted to use it for my dices when I play D&D. Oh, this is a good spot. But it's way too big. I mean, I could almost have it as a hat. No, I can't. So I just wanted to make another one smaller. So I did that. This one is much smaller. I mean, you cannot tell, but it is. And I really love it. I just love entrelac stitch. I think it's so... I love that it's small bits. It's going super slow, but it's nice slow bits. I don't know how to explain. It's just super fun to do. I really like it. So I just started the third row. So oh my god. How can I do this? The first... Okay, no. Maybe? No. Anyway, I just started my third row. I'm sorry. And I love seeing the color sequence change slowly. And I went with a self-striping kind of yarn like this, because in this one you can see there are some weird stuff happening. This is a self-striping sock yarn, but I wasn't really happy about those. Because the yarn looks great when it's knit in a tube, but like this, it really wasn't giving the effect I wanted. I really don't like this. You have rectangles inside the rectangles, not great. So I wanted to use a soft self-striping yarn, I mean soft color sequence thing, so that I would have similar colors across the rectangles. I wish I could show this. Oh yes. Similar color across the rectangles, but once you finish the whole round, the color sequence has changed enough so that the rectangle on top of the other one is different. So you can see here this rectangle, I mean it's the triangle here, but it's kind of reddish. I have no idea what color it is, I cannot see anything. And on top of it, it's a more bluish one. And here you have a more, I don't know what it is, one shade of grey and another shade of grey, I don't know. Yeah, I just really love the effect it has. And I'm super excited to see the finished pouch, the way it looks. So this is going super slow, but I'm really enjoying myself, like really. I really like this project. And the second reason I want to finish it very quickly is because I want to use the leftovers of this yarn. I decided that yesterday. Let me explain. Yesterday I had quite a lot of errands to run in town, so I took this with me to knit in the bus and when I had some waiting time in between stuff. Battery change. I forgot to press record. So let me do it again. Yesterday I was in town to run errands. I don't remember where I stopped. And I took this project with me to knit when I was in the bus or waiting in line or whatever. And I was wearing my Bluntstones boots that I love, but my skin is very fragile. And I was wearing long pants and high socks, but my pants kept riding up and my socks kept falling down. So basically the back of my ankles is destroyed. I have holes, it's bleeding, it's disgusting. Because my boots like rub on my skin and it just cuts off my... It's horrible, okay? I am so fragile. And yeah, I mentioned in my winter knitting plans video, if you watch that I wanted to knit myself some super small, tiny mini leg warmers, like fitted ones, so that they could mimic a sock without me having to knit the actual complete socks, because I don't really enjoy wearing socks. It hurts. It hurts and my feet get sweaty, whatever. So I just wanted to knit the leg part of the sock. And I would like to use the leftovers of this, once I finish this, to knit myself 2 small leg warmer protectors with the leftovers, because it's a dark color. I mean, not everything, but it's mainly a dark color, and I think it would be neutral enough to go with my black blunt tones and my black pants that I usually wear. And it's a DK weight yarn also, so it would protect my skin a little bit better. It's not the most sturdy yarn. This is not designed to be a sock yarn, but I hope it will be sturdy enough and it won't get cut into by the boots. I don't know, I just need to try to know. Yeah, so that's my plan. So that's why I'm kind of pushing through this one to finish it quickly, even though I enjoy it so much and it's so slow, because I want to use this. I have one other sock leftover left that I could use to make the mini leg warmer thing, but it's yellow and black and grey, and it's a little bit less neutral. It would just be more obvious if I have yellow stripes on my ankles between my boots and my pants, whereas this one is darker, so this would be better. And also the other one is fingering weight, so it's thinner, and I fear it's not gonna protect my ankles enough. I don't know, it probably would, because normal socks do, but I have like 2 pairs that are high enough to cover my ankles, so that's not enough. Anyway, the reason I didn't buy the zipper when I was in town yesterday is because my ankles were hurting so bad. I was just like, there is no way I am walking to the store where I want to buy the zipper to get it, because I'm just gonna be shredded if I go up to there. So I had to cut my losses and go home, even though I hadn't had the time to buy the zipper, because it was just hurting too much. So this is why I don't have the zipper on this guy. It's because my boots were hurting and I just didn't want it to work anymore. And yeah, so that's why. So now you have the whole story. Okay, so this is all my... No, absolutely not. It's not all what I wanted to talk about. The last thing, I did push myself to go to a local yarn store to buy a skein of yarn. This is my acquisition. It's Amira by Long Yarns. It's German, so I guess it's... I have no idea. Amira. And it's a bulky, heavy worsted, Aran, I don't know, cotton yarn with a slight bit of polyamide. Do I have the tag? I think I should have the tag. Oh yes. Ugh. It's this long Amira. It's 93% cotton, 7% polyamide. It's 100 meters per 100 grams, and it's the colorway, this one. I have written it on the screen before. And it's a light blue color, and I wanted to use it to swatch for the Roadtrip Shacket, which I have next to me to show you. This is also my own design. It's currently in testing, and it's a shacket style, so it has the shirt collar, and it's supposed to have buttons on the front, but again, I wanted to buy the buttons at the same place as the zipper, but I couldn't, so it doesn't have buttons yet. And it has this version has long sleeves. Like this is what's in the pattern, but I wanted to knit another version, a summer version. This is knitted in unspun yarn. Non-spun. So it's very warm, but I wanted to make a summer version with the short sleeves, and I wanted to use a cotton blend of yarn. And someone suggested, when I mentioned that in the latest episode, someone suggested I try this yarn. And Lang is available everywhere in Switzerland, so it was easy for me to find it. So I wanted to buy one to swatch. And this yarn is absolutely lovely. It's really gorgeous, I really love it. However, it is absolutely not what I wanted for my version, for my short sleeve version of the shacket, because this is very drapey. It's kind of silky, even though it's only cotton. It's a chain-knit construction, but you can see it's a little bit shiny, gorgeous, beautiful, and you cannot see it because it's a ball, but if this was a skein, it would droop a lot. And it would give a beautiful drapey and shiny garment, but a shacket is absolutely not a drapey and shiny garment. It has a matte fleece, sturdy, dense fabric, like absolutely not this. Even for a summer version, what I wanted was something, I mean this is wool, but something that has structure, that has lightness, but that's, I don't know, I just wanted something not drapey. So this is absolutely not it. I love the yarn though, I'm super happy I tried it, and I stopped the swatch this early because I was like, this is useless. There's no point in continuing because I know already it's not gonna work. I haven't checked the gauge, it might work, but yeah, there was just no point in me continuing this. So I love this yarn. However, this is the heavyweight, and there is a light version, Amira Light, and I think if I want to make myself a summer garment, a drapey, beautiful summer garment, I'm gonna use the lighter version because this is super thick and I don't really see the point of having a summer garment in something this thick, especially if it's drapey and not supposed to be an overlayer. Yeah, so I don't know what to do with this yarn now. I think I will do some more coasters. I did some jasmine stitch coasters. I think I have one here. I finished the last one I mentioned. This is jasmine stitch, and I think it would work well with this very fluffy and very like spongy yarn. I think it will work great. So I will just do a series of coasters using this. And now I need to find another yarn to do my short sleeves Roadtrip Shacket version. Short sleeve version of the Roadtrip Shacket. So I did go on yarnsub.com and I wanted to find substitute to Lang Amira. That's what I plugged into the website. It's a website that allows you to search into a huge database of yarns, and every characteristics of each yarn is in the database, which means if you search one, it's gonna give you the best substitute you can find and give you like the ply construction, the number of plies, the woolen spun, worsted spun, the gauge suggested, the composition of the yarn, and if it's a chained construction, a blown yarn, everything is in there, and it's just gonna give you the best match if you want to substitute yarns. So I inserted the Lang Amira and I just found out what was the best match, and I found a few. I found Pima by Phildar, I found Vegan Cashmere by Kremke, I found I didn't find this one on the yarnsub.com, but I knew about it already. It's Coastline by Jody, and I wanted also maybe to try two yarns by Roadtrip Shacket held together, which are Robinson and Candide. Held together, I think it's gonna match the gauge. The gauge is 16 stitches by 10 centimeters, by the way, in stockinette. So the Coastline by Jody would be the best, but it's not available outside of the US, unfortunately. So I cannot try this one, which is a shame, because I really think it's the best one. Next, I have the Pima and the Vegan Cashmere that are not available in Switzerland, but I can find them in France or Belgium or everywhere around Switzerland, basically. But that means I would have to order them, and I don't want to order the whole sweater quantity before I am sure it works. So that means I should have to order one ball and swatch, and then order a second time for the rest, and that's dumb. Don't want to do that. Because I have another solution which is available close to me, and it's the Robinson and Candide by Roadtrip Shacket, and it is also the only one that has the exact color I want. I think I have been inspired by this one. I usually hate beiges. I really don't like neutral colors. I just want colors in my life, and life is too short to wear boring colors like this. I'm sorry if you love boring colors. But I think I have too much colors in my wardrobe, and it's super difficult for me to pair clothes together because they are just so colorful, and it's a different shade of blue and they just don't go together, or it's just blue and green or red or pink or whatever, and it's just impossible. So I really need to stop and have basics in my wardrobe so that I can wear them on top of my colorful knits. I just need that. So I wanted to do the short sleeve version of the jacket in a very neutral color so that I could wear it during the whole summer with all my super colorful camisoles and tops. And it's difficult because I don't like neutrals, so finding a neutral color that I actually like to knit and to wear, it was a nightmare. And this shade, it's the colorway Nougat, I think. Yes. It's a soft brown beige. It's almost a light brown. It's a little bit like here, this section. And it's actually a natural color because it's a mix of white and black. I mean black, dark brown, black merino. So it's actually exactly that. Except this is not merino. So that's the perfect color. I think it would go with every shade, every colorful shade of my tops. And I couldn't find a similar color in the other yarns I talked about. And this yarn, Robinson and Candide, are available in one of my local yarn shops. So I could go there and buy them. Except she doesn't have enough of Robinson, so I would need to order it from France on the Natura's website. But you know what? They have a sale going on the website until the 22nd of January, so I have a few days left to take advantage of it. So I think what I will do, there is a slight chance that I can hit gauge if I only use Robinson. So I will go tomorrow to my local yarn shop, buy Robinson, one ball, then I will swatch. If I can hit gauge, I will only order Robinson from the Natura and buy the rest of what she has. And if I cannot hit gauge, I will order Robinson and Candide, because if I hold them together, I'm pretty sure I can hit gauge. And just buy what she has in her store. And that way I can take advantage of the sale they have going on, and if I stay under 60 francs, 65 francs when I order online, I don't have to pay taxes, which is good because as soon as I hit like 66 francs, I have to pay 30 francs of taxes, so that bumps up the price by a half. So instead of paying 65, I pay 95, which is completely dumb. And if I had to order all the yarn from Derum Natura's website, I wouldn't stay below the 65 mark, but if I can buy half of it at my local yarn store and half of it on the website, it's a lot cheaper. And also, of course, the price in the local yarn store is a lot higher than on the website, which is perfectly normal because she has to pay the taxes. But yeah, she doesn't have enough anyway, so I have to order from both. So I can just make the best of both worlds work and keep the price pretty low. And this yarn has a gorgeous texture. It's super lightweight. It's a woolen spun yarn, even though it's cotton, and it's super rare to find a yarn like that. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I really like it. And it's gonna have a lot of structure. It's gonna give me a good fabric that's not too drapey, but still flows nicely and is cool enough because it's super lightweight, and it's just gonna be so perfect. I'm so excited. And also by the color, which I would have never thought in my entire life that I would be excited about a beige. But I am. If you have another recommendation, of course, I'm all ears, but you need to be quick, because I think I will order the yarn tomorrow once I swatch with the other one. But yeah, that was a whole story. But I hope I can start this one soon, because if I want to take pictures with my photographer before the pattern release, I really need to get going on this sample. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about, I mentioned in, I don't know which episode, I think last one, that I wanted to try out, no, it was in the winter knitting plans. I wanted to try out, I was talking about the fact that I cannot really wear wool socks because my feet are sweaty because of the wool, I think. And someone suggested that I try HiKoo CoBaSi because it's a wool-free sock yarn. And I tried to see if it was available in Switzerland or in Europe. It's not. You can only find it in the US. So yeah, I kind of decided to let go of this idea. However, someone reached out and she studies in Zurich, which is in Switzerland, and she lives in the US. So she was in the US for the holiday season, and she's coming back to Zurich when the semester starts again in February, I guess. And she was like, if you want to, I can buy some HiKoo CoBaSi in the US and then bringing back to you in Switzerland. I was like, oh, this is so nice! I was so shocked. I mean, it's just so nice. So I don't know her, I have never talked to her before, and she just suggested she could do that for me, and yeah, I was so happy. I immediately told that to another friend of mine, and she was like, wow, you're an influencer now, Maya. Guess I am. Anyway, so we agreed that she could buy the yarn this week, and we could meet at the Swiss Yarn Festival in April, because Zurich is at the other side of Switzerland. And Switzerland is not big, but yeah, it's still a 4 hours train journey to get there, and for us in Switzerland that's a lot. I guess for US people it's small, but for me it's big. And I wasn't planning to go to Zurich before April when the Swiss Yarn Festival happens, so we decided to meet there, and I'm super excited! So I will get to try this yarn, not yet though, but it's fine because I wasn't planning to knit myself sock in the meantime anyway. It wasn't in my winter knitting plans, so that way I don't have to switch over my plans, which is great. So yeah, that's it for today. That's everything I wanted to talk about. I am so hot, especially since it's a little bit damp. It's literally like drying on myself, and it's not a great feeling. So I'm gonna stop filming here. I hope you enjoyed. This was not a shorter episode in the end. I knew it. We all knew it. Especially you, since you knew the length of the episode when you clicked on it. That's it for today. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your nice suggestions in the comments, as always. I love reading them. I have a list of yarns you all suggested to me that I want to try. One day I will go to the US, and one day I will try them all. One day. Yeah, thank you so much for your support, and don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss any future content I might put out. And yeah, thank you for sticking around until the end. Next time I will film in a different location because I will be cat sitting. So I will have 3 cats first. That's absolute paradise. And I will be in a pretty interesting apartment. It's like the most beautiful apartment I have ever seen in my whole life, and I will be living there for 3 weeks. So stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for the cats. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.